Welcome, everyone, to a special episode of Frostbitten. I'm joined here, as always, by Aaron and Tyler. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Pretty good, pretty good.
I mentioned a special episode today because we actually got San Jose Barracuda and San Jose Sharks defenseman Luca Cagnoni on for a quick interview. Shout out to Nick Nolenberger for making that happen. Guys, should we just jump right into it?
Absolutely. Let's dive right into that.
So what's the transition been like for you coming from major junior to the AHL? What have you noticed?
Yeah, I mean it's been pretty big. It's obviously a step up, like the speed and the physicality of games, and especially just like the players. Like a lot of guys are top end talent. You got a lot of NHL prospects, so it's definitely no joke, and definitely have to be prepared for what you're getting into.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Has there been kind of a welcome to the pros kind of moment for you?
I mean, just the way that like every day goes. I think like once we came into training camp, you get worked pretty hard, and that kind of just shows like how well everyone is in shape and how prepared everyone is. So I'd say like that's probably like the biggest thing, and then just every day is a learning day, especially when you're a young guy. So just trying to stay humble about it and just learn every day.
Got to be a sponge.
Yeah, exactly.
Tyler, Aaron, I'll let you guys jump in.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just coming to San Jose, I just want to know what the fan support means to you specifically.
Yeah, I mean it's been pretty unreal so far. I think ever since getting drafted, like a lot of stuff was being said about how they kind of wanted me here, and I think the fans kind of appreciated that I slipped to that position. So it's been pretty good so far, and kind of being on like the West Coast still since I was in Portland, still see some Portland fans at some games, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and just hearing that fans are happy that you fell in that position, I was just wondering, what type of legacy did you want to leave behind for San Jose and the Bay Area?
Yeah, I mean, like being on the ice like aside, I think just being like a good kid and being a good person, being like a respectful guy, super humble. I think that's a huge piece of who I am and how I grew up. And then like on the ice, I think just the way I play, like how I kind of like strive at like every shift and stuff. So just being like an offensive defenseman, and I like to put the puck in the back of the net. So I think that's a big thing for me.
Yeah, being an offensive defenseman, I was just wondering who influenced your play style growing up. Like, which players were memorable as a kid?
Yeah, when I was like really young, like Duncan Keith, I think was a big one. Even like Doughty, the way that they played, and then over the years, you start seeing like the McCarrs and the Hughes trying to like switch the game up again. So it's pretty cool to watch that.
Nice. Aaron, Mike, I'll let it toss back to you.
Yeah, just kind of sticking with the style of game you play. Has offense kind of been always baked into your game, or is that something you've developed, going through junior and now in the AHL?
Yeah, I was actually like when I was probably like pre-bantam, more of like a defensive guy, and then my coach Leland Mack, Bantam Prep, just kind of switched that for me, kind of gave me the green light to like show my skills and my abilities on the ice, and then that kind of changed my momentum of how I played the game. And then obviously like through juniors and stuff, it's all about confidence and playing with that like every shift. So kind of just kept on going with it.
Well, shout out to that coach who influenced you, man, because
Yeah.
I've watched you play quite a bit here, and just the way you find that open ice, and fuck, man, your shot gets off quick. I apologize for my language, but it's a beaut to watch.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay, hey Luca. First and foremost, thank you again for taking some time tonight to talk to us here on Frostbitten, the Sounds Like Sharks podcast. You obviously dominated WHL at the Portland Winterhawks, scoring 90 points last season, the most by any player this century in the WHL. So, who's helped you the most so far on this club with your transitions into the pros on and off the ice?
Yeah, I mean, a lot last year when I was still in junior was like the player development guys like Lucas Spiza and stuff kind of really put in my head of like you have to be a two-way guy. You can't just be all offense and stuff. So he kind of put that in my mind, and then all summer I was kind of working on those things, and obviously in the gym getting stronger with just like how summer goes. So I'd say he was a big one, and then kind of here now, like the D coach Louis Mass is we watch video almost every day, so he's kind of been making it easier. Then just some like guys on the team, like they're just like good people. Like I don't know, all of our older guys kind of let us come in with all the confidence and like just be who you are. There's nothing you can't say in the room and stuff like that. So it makes you pretty comfortable.
Outstanding. So you haven't been called up to the NHL yet, but you were on the San Jose Sharks roster for training camp. You played in some games in a San Jose Sharks sweater. What was it like to finally skate in an NHL preseason game?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. I mean, once I told my parents that I was playing in the first one, they booked a quick flight down just to come watch it. So I think it was obviously a really cool moment, and hopefully I can get like a regular season game, which would be even more surreal. But I think just like playing with those guys is just so fun, and they just know where to be on the ice, and it just makes hockey like just so fun.
Outstanding. Guys, would you like to take over the next one?
Yeah, just on the topic of the Sharks, I know that you're from the Vancouver area. Did you ever have any crossover with Macklin in your youth hockey days?
I actually played with his brother Aiden at BWC for 1 year, so I got to know him. I got to know Aiden pretty well, and then obviously Macklin was a couple years younger, so I didn't really get to see him too much. But we definitely crossed paths a couple times, and then yeah, like I still talk to Aiden till this day. Like we went to dinner in the summer and stuff like that. So definitely hear about it and stuff. So it's still pretty cool though, having another BC guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, man, the youth hockey out there is just a hotbed for talent, it seems like.
Yeah, there's some pretty good clubs out there, so it's definitely a hockey town.
So you've been in Vancouver, you spent time in Portland with the Winterhawks. Now you're in San Jose, San Francisco area. You're just making a tour of all of like the really big Bay cities, huh?
Yeah, exactly. Just trying to soak it in.
Have you been able to check out the area, go down to San Francisco, or do you have any go-to spots yet?
I mean, the row here is pretty nice. Santana, that's kind of a big one. But I haven't really got to San Fran yet. Maybe I'm driving back home after the year, so I'll probably hit there. Maybe stop back in Portland, see my billets. So I'll try to get pretty comfortable with the city.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and they're not all that different. You know, Portland's kind of wacky in a fun way, and
Yeah,
then San Francisco is really, really similar.
yeah, exactly.
So I did want to talk about you and how you came up. I'm sure you've been told time and time again that your size maybe wasn't ideal, maybe like you were a smaller defenseman, and obviously you've pushed through that and you've shown that you can compete with the best of them. So my question is, what advice would you have for younger athletes who might think that they're not big enough to keep going in hockey or any sport?
Yeah, I'd just say like it's all about the heart. I mean, like everyone's gonna like there's so many critics out there nowadays that are gonna try to like knock you for who you are, but I mean there's still guys in the league that like DeBrincat, like he's like 5'7", 5'8". Like there's even like Hughes who's like 5'10". Like it's getting more popular now, and I think it's kind of taken over the game, and those guys are so elite. So I think like it doesn't really matter what size you are, it's all about the heart and just like how hard you work, and I think that just takes care of people.
Couldn't agree more. Yeah, I'm a 5'9" guy who played
Yeah.
hockey for as long as I could, so it eventually got the best of me. I let it get in my head, but we're not on the same level of talent either. So, I just wanted to ask one more question here. Switching gears off of hockey, if you weren't, here's a fill in the blank. If I weren't a professional hockey player, I would be what?
Ooh, that's hard. It's tough because I used to play soccer till I was like 12 or 13, and then I kind of made that transition. So I'd want to say that, but then I don't know. I'm pretty good with numbers, and my dad's like in business, so I don't know. That'd be tough, but I'd probably have to go with the business side. I mean, he's been in it for so many years, and he seems to have a good time with, which is how every day goes. So I would say that.
It's not a bad path to go down, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Guys?
Yeah, I mean, just wanting to know more about your upbringing. I was just wondering if you could give a quick story of like learning to skate, getting into hockey, peewees, and all that, and then wanting to train full time as a pro. As you said, you played soccer and you made the transition. So, what led to that decision?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a crazy story. It's like when I was about like 2 years old, like a late birthday, so I think I was just about two, and my older sister, my dad would take us to like these skates at a local rink, and it was just kind of like free ice. And I guess like I was so stubborn, like I would never stand up on the ice and like never wanted to really skate. And then I guess like one day I just woke up and I was like, I told my dad, I said like I'm gonna go skate today, and like ever since then, like I was just been on the ice and just been loving it. And then like I'm full Italian, so I mean soccer's kind of in my blood. So and I was actually like way better at soccer than I was at hockey, like during that age period from like let's say like whenever I started playing till like 12. And then I kind of like hit like talking about bantam like that peak where I started like getting pretty good. And I didn't get drafted to the WHL, so like I don't know, I was still pretty small at that time though. And then the next year after that I hit like a little bit of a growth spurt, and then had a really good year at E15s, and then Portland kind of picked me up. So kind of lucked out that way, but definitely when I was younger, like it took a little bit of encouragement for me to kind of get on that ice, but ever since then, like I started really young.
Yeah. And just being on the professional side now, last week we had a discussion where Vlasic, the Sharks defenseman, we were talking about should there be a NHL award for best offensive defenseman and best defensive defenseman?
Yeah, I mean, I would say yeah. Like I think that would be really cool. I think just for the both aspects of it, because obviously they're two different roles. So I mean, like I think the race would be even closer too with some of the guys, and then you get to see some of like the harder guys, the grittier defensemen, and kind of give them a little bit of sunshine too that kind of go unnoticed. I think it's a great idea though.
There you go. And then I was just wondering if we during the AHL season this year you started off extremely hot and then there is a little bit of a stretch where some points here and there. I was wondering as an offensive defenseman, what do you focus on when you're going through a little stretch where you're not putting up like consistent game by game goals?
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely in a little bit of a slump for a couple of games, but I think I was just trying to focus on playing the right way. Like again, like you got to play a 200-foot game, so just focusing on that. And I think I've been like pretty reliable on the defensive zone this year, so just sticking to that. But I think like still like chances were coming, and just weren't bouncing the right way or whatever, and that's fine. Like you kind of go through those patches during the year. Like you can't really go perfect all year, so just happy that it's kind of out of the way and just kind of move on from it.
Yeah, I saw your most recent goal on social media and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah.
But that's all the questions from my end. So
Yeah, I got some for you, Cagnoni. So while we're talking about goals, can you talk about your first career American Hockey League goal, what that was like, and what it meant to you as a player, coming up from the WHL, and just giving the story that you shared with us with your upbringing?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a power play goal, just like a shot from the blue line. I was actually like kind of scared getting into this year because it took me a long time to get my first goal in the dub. So it took me like till like about Christmas or so. So I was kind of scared getting into this league that it would take me the same amount of time or longer. But I was actually like just thrilled to kind of get it out of the way because I feel like every year getting that first one is so important, and just getting it as early as possible. And then yeah, but I mean, it was definitely super special. I mean, my parents text me right after, and I still have the puck kind of in my stall just to kind of keep the memory going and stuff. So it's definitely a cool moment. I was still 19, so yeah, it felt really good.
I mean, you've had some great highlights thus far with the CUDA, and as I mentioned earlier, the preseason of the Sharks. Could you describe how it felt to score that overtime game-winning goal in Anaheim?
Yeah, that was a cool one. I actually didn't know that I scored there. I started backpedaling because I thought they were going the other way, but it was a cool moment. I think we versed like basically their team, like most of their roster was in. So it was pretty cool facing like a pretty full NHL roster, and then just happy to put that one in the back of the net to seal the game. I think we were like a little maybe like not out talented, but they kind of the upper hand in the lineup that game. So it was pretty cool that we even fought to overtime and then took it.
Okay, so I have some Barracuda specific related questions. First one is, what is it like skating at the TechCU Arena in front of Barracuda fans? And how are you feeling that new 10th anniversary Covert Cuda jersey?
Yeah, I'll start with the CUDA fans. I think it's pretty cool. They got a good vibe to them too. I think we had a country night which was packed. So they're definitely loud and they're definitely passionate. It's really nice to see them at the rink and supporting us. And then like the jerseys I think are pretty sweet. I mean the black looks so good with the teal. I think it's my favorite combo. Even the with like the Sharks black ones. Like I think the pants and like the helmets and the gloves look so cool with the teal. So I definitely dig it.
Nice. Anyone want to jump in?
Yeah, I just kind of thought of this question as Tyler was going through some stuff about, your current season. Fun fact, I used to work for the CUDA like a few years ago up until the pandemic. And at that time, John McCarthy was still a player on the team. Now he's your head coach. What is it like to play for Johnny Mac, especially maybe maybe you can vibe with him more because he was playing in the league so recently. He kind of gets the game. What's it been like playing for Johnny?
Yeah, I mean it's been great. He's a great coach. I think like kind of like that age where he's at too, so you can kind of have like those just conversations with him. Like doesn't always have to be like so like puck focused and just hockey, hockey, hockey. I think like even some of the meetings that I've had with him, it's not always starting with like how's hockey. Like it's always just like how are you, like how's life? Because I think he knows that being a young guy and being away from home and all that kind of can take a toll on some people. So I like how he kind of takes care of the guys, and I think too, just he knows like the situations that we're in. He knows how hard the season is, so it's definitely like it's awesome having someone that can relate to like what we're going through every day.
Yeah, I mean, he was like probably one of the best guys I met in that organization. Other guys, Ricci and Nabby as well. They
Yeah,
just love to keep things light in there. Is that still the case?
yeah, for sure. I mean, Ricci's he's a funny guy, so and then Naby's awesome too. So they're both kind of lingering around the room, and they definitely keep the vibes up. You can kind of talk to them about anything, and they'll go with it. So it's a good feeling.
So between having like these former longtime NHLers around you in Ricci and Nabby, you also got vets like Podorowski on the team, Jimmy Schultz. What has it meant for you as a rookie in the league to have that kind of veteran presence in the locker room?
Yeah, I mean it's great. I think that's exactly what this team kind of needed. Like we're not like I wouldn't say we're super young, but we definitely have some young guys that are on their like upbringing of their careers. So it's definitely nice to have them, and they kind of like lead the way for us, and we can kind of follow them, but obviously on different paths. So everyone's kind of on their own path, and I think everyone knows that in the room. But just having them there, and they have such a big voice, even like for the league. So I think it's great to have them on the team.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that you guys are having fun on the ice, and I'm sure that's the same case behind the scenes too.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I have a question to ask you about training camp. I know I keep kind of going back toward the beginning of the year. Um, Mike did mention earlier about potentially, facing off against Max Celebrini. You did share that you played more with his brother and in contact with him. However, there is a video on YouTube that surfaced of you shutting down Macklin Celebrini on YouTube during training camp. So what was that experience like, playing against, some of these guys that eventually you'll be earning your way up in a lineup with them on the Sharks?
Yeah, I mean it's like so fun to just compete with them. I think I've seen that video actually before on Twitter where I think it was at like development camp, but I mean he's a hell of a player. He's a franchise player, so I think it's just pretty exciting like even being able to go against him like even in training camp a little later on in the year where you have to go and everyone's fighting for a job and you're still competing having fun against guys that are your age, so it's pretty cool.
I do want to kind of build upon the story you shared about being a young hockey player away from home. That kind of resonated with me. Not that I'm a hockey player, but I once had a job. Specifically, I was in the military when I had to go away from home for a long time, being young man. Early in my professional career. So back to the point is, what kind of remedy do you have, or is there anything that you do that kind of makes you feel close to home, or is there anything that you get from your family that kind of just makes you feel like the distance is a little bit closer or shorter? Pardon me.
Yeah, I mean, being in juniors, I wasn't very far away from home. I was like a 5-hour drive, so and they would come down to most of the games, and my both of my parents still do come to some of the games here, or when we're like in Vegas or something. Like the flights are pretty close. I feel bad for some of the guys that are like across the country or in another country. So I definitely kind of lucked out with that, and I don't know. They're just super supportive. Like, oh, I call them before every game and check up on them whenever I can. So it's definitely nice having them. Like even when they're around, like we'll go to dinner and stuff. So it definitely means a lot to me though.
That's outstanding. Something really quick that really caught my attention earlier this season, well, just maybe about a month or so ago. You donated 73 bears to Portland Winterhawks. I believe it was Les Schwab Tire Center. Can you give us a story behind that? And I already know, but can you share with the audience why 73 bears?
Yeah, so it was their teddy bear toss game, I believe, and then I wanted to, just donate something kind of. I still could have been able to go back for another year in Portland for my overage year, so just wanted to like support them, and I was number 73 with them for I think 4 years or 3 years. So I just wanted to keep that number kind of alive and going. And I thought it was just a pretty cool idea.
It definitely was a cool idea and a great gesture. I have a couple more that are on top of my mind, but gentlemen, would you like to perhaps ask Luca some final questions here? Thank you, Luca, for spending this evening with us. Mike and Tyler, in that order.
Yeah. Again, thank you so much, Luca, for taking the time. I know we've kind of peppered you, and we really appreciate it. It's been fun. I guess my one last question is, do you have any superstitions or pregame rituals that you got to stick to?
I'm not like super superstitious, but lately I've been drinking a Red Bull before every game, and I had a pretty good weekend last weekend, so I think I'm gonna keep that one going. But
You
I
get
mean,
that
I
Will
don't
Smith
really.
hookup or what?
I wish, yeah, that would cut down the budget for me.
Yeah, that'd be dangerous territory, but I
Yeah.
totally get it, man. You get a nice energy drinking you. There's nothing quite like it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and for me, I mean, just once again, thank you so much for joining. But my final question is based off the future. Just knowing the Sharks' prospects in the pipeline with excitement, such as Sam Dickinson, what does it mean to you that they could potentially join the CUDA and be your potentially your line mate in the upcoming years?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty special with like the group that's even coming in, that age group. I think they're all super talented and super competitive. So I think like this organization is gonna have a pretty quick turnaround. I think like it's not gonna take long for everyone to kind of get comfortable and get into their roles. So I think it's super exciting just being a part of it, and I think even for like the fans and the organization, I think everyone's super excited for this new journey.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Final question, Luca. Obviously, so far you got 36 games, 10 goals, 16 assists for 26 points. Do you have a potential milestone that you want to reach this season outside of scoring or games played?
Not really. I kind of came into the year with like an open mind. Uh, I think honestly, I've kind of exceeded my expectations for what was going to happen this year already. I think having 10 goals or so is pretty cool. So I don't know. I kind of came in with a free mind, and I just wanted to play the right way. Like I didn't really know what was going to happen this year, so just came in and just wanted to show them what I can bring every night. So I think I'm just going to keep on doing that.
All right, gentlemen. Well, Luca, thank you so much for your time tonight. You are a man of the fan base. We love seeing you there at the new Barn to Texas Arena, aka the Reef. Thank you for taking the time to speak with Mike Contact CEO, myself, Aaron James. You obviously are more than welcome to come back and talk about hockey or anything else in life in general with us here at Frostbitten, it Sounds Like Sharks podcast. So with that, one more last thank you, and you have yourself a great rest of your night.
Yeah, best
thanks,
of luck
guys.
the rest of the season, Luca. Well, I think we all learned a lot about Luca. He's a special player. We're super excited to have him in Sharks territory. And Luca, if you see this, thanks again for coming on. Guys, any closing thoughts on what Luca had to say?
I'm in just a very professional player person at his age as well. Just really looking forward to see what he can provide in the future, as I think all Sharks fans can look forward to as well.
Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, discussing his path to San Jose, and as much as it's been an absolute pleasure watching him skate in a San Jose jersey, whether that been the San Jose Sharks or the San Jose Barracuda, and wishing Cagnoni all the best this season, and can't wait to see continue to monitor your career here with the San Jose Sharks organization.
Yeah, any of our viewers or listeners watching this or listening, Barracuda games are a ton of fun. So I encourage you guys to check them out. They're very affordable, and it's just another means of getting hockey in your system. And Lord knows I can always get more.
Absolutely. Well, Mike, Tyler, and especially thank you, Luca. Thank you all the San Jose Sharks and Barracuda fans out there for supporting this pod. We cannot wait to bring you more original, fresh content. And I guess that's all we have for tonight. So with that being said, let's sign off with our signature sign off by saying let's go Sharks, and special let's go Barracuda.